initiative. And the multi-actor, sometimes we misunderstood the term multi-actor. What it really meant was that we had recognized that child marriages cannot be dealt with by one sector, but that a lot more people need to be involved if at all we have got a chance to end child marriages in Malawi. That meant that we needed to work with government departments, and those government departments included education, included youth, included gender, included justice, and included health. And then from there we moved to working with civil society, a variety of civil society organizations, some human rights organizations, some child protection organizations or child rights organizations, and community-based organizations which mobilized communities. And then from there we also wanted to work with the media, making sure that we amplify the issue of child marriages, the issue in terms of its ills of child marriages, the adverse effects on child marriages. And what was really critical for us is the fact that when you marry a child, you are robbing them of their chance for a full life. You're robbing them of their chance to education, to decision making, to being what I call self-actualization, which really means that an individual who can take responsibility and take part in all their affairs as a full citizen, because you married them as a child, so they don't have any chance of developing any of those.
I see. Well, let's now focus on ending child marriages. You said you've been in the country working on this project since 2011. So far from 2011, this is 2014. What can you say is the impact on the ground?
Well, I think we can see, even from today, the fact that we have increased the partnership. We've stretched our hands out to work with other organizations, and so we've broadened our scope by actually working and also appreciating how other people are contributing to addressing child marriages. So working with partners who are maybe focusing on education, for instance, means that we can actually leverage the program. So I think it's a very good thing, the fact that so many people now in Malawi are interested in working in with the issue of child marriages. The second part is actually the fact that, more and more we've raised awareness. More and more people are talking about the ills, the effects of child marriages. The children themselves are beginning to do drama around, they do poetry around the ills of child marriages. So all that contributes to understanding the issues of child marriages and how they affect society in general. We're working with traditional leaders. We're working with religious leaders. Something that is really quite interesting for us as Hivos, because, we recognize the influence that those parts of those structures within our society can actually play for addressing child marriages. The media is a big component, in the sense that, we also periodically since 2011 we've had clips in the newspaper, articles in the newspaper, we've run symposiums which really raised a lot of awareness. However, we are disappointed that we have not yet got the marriage bill addressed, which was one of our key area that we wanted to address when we first started in 2011. Of course, for political reasons and other factors, we've not been able to get the bill changed. However, never say never, it will happen, and when it happens, we'll all celebrate. A lot of work is being done in the background, meeting with parliamentarians and conscientizing them, advocating for the change of the marriage bill. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but I think we're getting there.
Now, coming back to the issue of working on custodians of culture, that are the chiefs and other leaders in the community, how has been your working relationship with them, considering that many of them perhaps would be conservative, they wouldn't want to let go of their culture? How do you handle them? How do you work with them?
I think it's a good question. I think when we started, we were all a bit scared about trying to tackle that. But the way our entry point was always to invite them to the dialogues that we had. And I think the first chunk of it was when we did symposium in Mangochi, and where we invited the chiefs as well as religious leaders, and we gave them the space to also talk about what their role is with regards to child marriages. So when we give people space to really talk about it, having given them the broad spectrum of where we are coming from, why we say that marrying children is a violation of rights, when they understand that, they also then begin to think about their own practices and how they impact on the lives of children. So I think that's a way to do it, which is really to get people to think about my role. And I think what we did in 2013, we did the National Symposium of coining the whole movement, a collective responsibility for ending child marriages, means that it's not about me. You know, it's about all of us, and it's about we've all got a responsibility, and if we've all played our part, then we can actually make a difference. So I think from that spectrum, you find that the religious leaders and the traditional leaders also embraced it. And what I saw beginning to happen with the partners, civil society partners that we work with, is that in those districts or in those areas, the chiefs were now beginning to say, we can actually work with our bylaws and try and stop the men who are marrying children, trying to stop the families that are marrying their children. So they're taking it upon themselves to use their own cultural powers or custodial powers to address child marriages. We also heard from religious leaders saying, well, actually, we are going to stop marrying children. When they come to our churches, we're going to question if we think there's an age difference or that one of them is a child. So they're taking ownership of it, and I think that's all we need to do. And if more and more of that happened, then if society changes itself from within, not from outside, it changes from within.